So what are you fellas doing on this fantastic orange couch?
It's actually made of, it's made of helium, and we're holding it down or else it blows around the office. It's really awkward.
Here we are at Buuteeq. This is our entrance and our famous orange couch. You can see we have orange walls, and we'll do some office tours later today so you can get a better sense for the layout here. I'm Forrest Key, the CEO and founder.
Oh, and I'm Brad Becker.
And Brad and I have known each other for a long time and have worked in a lot of technology areas involving design, and thought it would be kind of fun to introduce ourselves in that context. We wore our designer garb today, our designer shoes, and want to talk a little bit about design. So, Brad, when did we meet? We met about 12 years ago, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
10 years ago at Macromedia, where I was the Flash product manager and worked on the video and kind of animation and graphic design capabilities of the Flash product line.
That's right. Forrest helped introduce the video kind of wave of Flash that started 2000. When was that?
2003. And it was fun technology. Didn't make Macromedia a lot of money, but made YouTube a lot of money.
It did, and other people too.
And other people.
And I came there. I was when I met you, I was the Flash product designer, so I was responsible for designing Flash and the Flash authoring tools. And if you right-click in your browser in Flash and open up the settings and look at some of the icons in there, some of those I designed in my spare time, and worked on the user interface for Flash and all that.
That was at a time that Flash was pursuing two different business goals. One was to continue to be an advertising platform and a skip intro platform. Most people would use Flash to do really rich broadband-enabled kind of websites, including some hospitality sites. Flash was kind of hot in 2003, 2004 timeframe to do some hotel websites. Not a good idea today in 2012.
In fact, the first rich internet application, as they talked about, was for a hotel.
Yeah, the hotel booking engine.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Flash was being increasingly used for applications for doing banking interfaces or dashboards for data analysts, things like that. Because the graphical capabilities and rich interactions made Flash a good option at the time for doing better applications on the web. Of course, that's gone the way the Dodo bird will evolve here in the next 5 or 6 minutes. We'll talk about that. But after Macromedia, I left first. I went to Microsoft here in Seattle, which is what brought me to this part of the country. We met in San Francisco, and I started working with Microsoft on similar technologies, things that would allow for richer web experiences, a really strong emphasis on graphics, interactivity, and how to convey information through rich visuals that would improve the usability and retention of information for users. And Microsoft, traditionally an enterprise company, didn't have a lot of designers, didn't have, in this area, in web technology, they have designers, of course, that work on the Xbox and on the Windows interface, but in the area of developer tools, there wasn't a big design philosophy component. So I was one of the first people hired and worked on creating tools for designers, which was the Microsoft Expression product line, and a series of programming interfaces that eventually became Silverlight, which was pretty similar to Flash in that it was a plugin for browsers. And not a year or two after I joined Microsoft, you were compelled to follow me up to the Pacific Northwest, and we had quite a bit of fun together. What did you do at Microsoft?
So I came up to Microsoft to work in product management for the same things that Forrest was working on. So the same things you were doing. I worked on Expression Web and Expression Design and Expression Interact. We went through 9 names for that product.
And I think we had 10 products at one point.
Which I really hated that name, but that was just a code name. And then, so we had a whole bunch of products, and then I ended up as the director of product management for Silverlight.
Yeah.
And also worked on Azure and worked on Visual Studio and worked with the Windows group
and a lot of the fun we had. Because both of us are more designer guys. In fact, we should mention prior to when we met, I was a filmmaker. I worked at Industrial Light and Magic, which is George Lucas's company in Marin County in California, and I had the amazing opportunity coming right out of college to work on the Star Wars films, Star Trek films, some of the things that were really my passion as a kid growing up in the industry that I wanted to work in. And I actually, in my first 2 weeks at ILM, had the chance to present work to both Spielberg and to Lucas in 2 different projects. I worked on the DreamWorks logo animation that you see at the beginning of most DreamWorks movies with the
kid fishing off the moon.
Off the moon. And they still use that today. And it was a project that I did literally as a 22, 23-year-old kid right out of college, and presented it to Spielberg, my first 2 weeks at ILM. So I got off to a really fast start in terms of that aspect of my career, really enjoyed it, but found myself increasingly interested in the production and technology of storytelling, and that led me to start a company that made visual effects tools for that industry called Puffin Designs, which I did for 3 or 4 years as a young CEO founder prior to Macromedia. What were you doing before Macromedia? You had an interesting background.
Yeah, so I was a fisherman. Commercial fisherman.
I don't remember that.
No, actually, I was in a rock band, so that was
Yes,
a big
you were.
thing. I was also a developer, so I had kind of a
more on the rock band.
Well,
Not so easy.
I was doing both at the same time, so I was like, traveling around with a rock band in a van and on planes, and we played, the Hollywood Bowl, and we played all over the place, and
that was because you were opening for a extremely famous actor.
the Hollywood Bowl, that's right. The Hollywood Bowl, we were opening for the Hanson brothers, who had just had the huge
Sing a couple
success.
lines of Mbop.
No, I didn't. I let them sing it.
But let's hear you sing.
And
'cause
they
I
would
can't
just
sing.
squirt me with
Come on, do
water
a line.
guns.
Mbop.
I don't know. It's very nostalgic for me. That was like 10 years ago.
If you had a 16-year-old daughter at the time, or if you were a 16-year-old daughter at the time, you would have known the Hanson.
Everybody did. I think there was a Saturday Night Live skit where the whole skit was the Hansons were in an elevator and the song came on and the people were fighting with them.
It was pretty
because it was
popular.
everywhere.
So you were the opening act.
Yeah,
that
and it was
that
like
the height of your fame. The
Yeah,
opening
that was good. I had a song I wrote that was in a Warner Brothers movie, and we got to do that summer. Sort of when things were peaking for us, I got like 30,000 fan emails, so it was pretty crazy for me and the band.
That would have been 3 million likes on Facebook today.
Yeah, like that was in 1998.
Wow.
So now it all kind of vanished without a trace. So this was like when it was like Lycos and GeoCities and AOL. And so it's like the sands of time have swept us off the face of the earth. It's like we never existed.
In the digital record.
Yeah.
But in the hearts and minds of those 16-year-old girls.
Yeah,
that saw you
I got a
in
bunch
concert.
of faded newspapers, so that counts for something.
So from rock band to software designer, how did that transition happen?
Well, the thing is I'm a very cautious individual, so I kept a day job the entire time. So we were in the studio recording, we were touring on the road, all these things were happening, and I never stopped working. I had a crappy old laptop back then, and I'd be working in the van, and the band guys would go out, the other guys in the band would go out at night, and I'd stay in the hotel room and work. So I kept a job the whole time, and I was a developer. My degree was in computer science, but I always gravitated towards the user experience side of things, because at the end of the day, the technology should be serving us, and most of the time it feels like it's the other way around. People will apologize because they don't know how to use technology, but really technology is tools, and you shouldn't have to apologize. It should work for you. So I always thought that was the most important thing, gravitated that way, and so now I'm the Chief Experience Officer here and focused on the user experience and making sure that our software is easy for people to use and powerful and flexible and does what they need.
We jumped around a bit after Microsoft. I left first. I usually am the one to leave first, but then the one to give you a call, say, hey, this is what we're doing next, what do you think? And out of my passion for travel, and in particular some time I spent in China working for Microsoft, traveling a ton, really came across this horrible landscape of really dysfunctional hotel marketing that I found, which is now that we've learned more about the industry, because we weren't hoteliers and industry people, we've learned that in fact we were correct in our assumptions. As consumers, we saw these really bad websites, really difficult discovery of hotels, really difficult booking for online, and wanting to connect with smaller properties, with independent properties, with luxury properties. So that was the genesis for buuteeq, was, hey, let's make a platform that's really well designed to not only allow hoteliers, operators of properties, B&B owners, innkeepers to control their own marketing through a simple interface on the web, but then consumers that then experience those hotel marketing collateral materials to have a delightful encounter, find it easily, understand what they're shopping for, what the rooms look like, the amenities, the location, etc., and then to be able to complete a high trust kind of immediate reservation directly with the property. So this is something that I was very passionate about, had a clear vision, but really needed your design expertise and help with, because so much of what we're doing as a software company, and many software companies today, is really about design. So design is a fundamental component of everything we do. It's the genesis, it's kind of our personal DNA as two of the principal guys here, and certainly two of the principal people on the product, along with the engineering leadership and product management team. So this is going to be the beginning of many conversations where you and your team go deep into the concepts of design and how we approach design philosophy, and periodically I may appear on camera again talking a little bit bit about some of the approach from a business perspective. But really, an important component of our business that we want to share frequently, so that people that don't have the benefit of visiting us in person here at the office can kind of get a sense of this design DNA and how it improves our company.
And the orange.
And the orange. And notice there's an orange light back there as well. So I think that's it for this orange couch experience. Maybe we'll make this a pattern, have people sit on the couch together. But this is the inaugural video, and thank you for watching.